auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I live by the old code of second floor!
Why look for a scientific explanation when you can put blind trust in an invisible Sky Daddy?
Sky Daddy all the way.
Go watch your crappy sitcom! Turn up full volume, why don't you?
Oh, Reed, weird, I can't even get through my couch!
Well, well, well.
Back at it.
Well, well, well. Back at it again with the white Vans. And the Guy Harvey shirt.
That's right, dude. This shirt's actually super comfy.
Really? I feel like anything from, I mean, the shirt that I got on at New Smyrna, it patinaed like no other shirt ever. I feel like those Florida shirts just, they have a different,
Something about them, dude.
there's something about them, man.
Especially the ones from that New Smyrna shop.
Really?
Yeah, they're just different.
It just has like a, they're just from a factory. These dolphins are just spindling all the shirts.
Yeah.
Somehow they teach them how to do it. That Euro we had,
Bro,
the little
I
seaside
haven't been to
town.
that place in so long, dude.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I got like two. I think I only had like one or two of those New Smyrna shirts left that I got like probably when I was like probably early SAGU. I used to have a ton though. I would wear them all the time. Yeah, it's a nice little shop. They got all kinds of good stuff in there. Their hoodies are nice too, dude.
That's right. You do
They
have that one
super
hoodie.
comfy hoodies. Yeah.
I have that picture of you when we got back from Florida, and you're like, just like back from a 20-hour drive, and you just like, you get out of the car and you have that hoodie on, I think, and you pull out that, you're like holding up that sign that you guys picked up off the beach.
Oh, dude. You know, I still have that.
Really?
It's hanging up in our garage right now.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why I've never noticed it in there.
Wait. What, like, where do you... Did that happen at SAGU when I pulled out of the trunk? Or...
Yeah, I think it was in the parking lot of SAGU.
Oh, okay.
Like right when we pulled in and parked by.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I think it was in my trunk for a while because I just didn't know what to do with it. But I knew I wanted to keep it.
Man. Well, that was a cold open. Welcome back to Safe 4 Experience, everyone. Yeah, that truly was a wild time.
Dude, that was one of the weirdest things I've ever like seen though. Because were you there when we saw the sign initially? Like when we
No,
walked up
I
to
wasn't.
it?
No, I wasn't on the walk.
It was just like late at night. We're all there at the beach, and well, like I mean, dude, it was late, and we're just I think it was like me, Ryan, Reed, maybe one other person, and we're just walking down, and like in the distance we see this flame going, and then as we get closer we realize it was just like a wooden sign, like a dang, I forget the county. But yeah, it's just a sign of like the county, and then someone had literally just lit it on fire.
The sign?
So, yeah, this like the wooden sign was on fire. So
Like when you walked up to it?
yeah, just like at the bottom, it was just burning. So that's how we got it.
What?
We just took the sign off and left it there.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty funny. Probably pretty illegal. Not gonna lie.
Statute of
But-
limitations, dude. That was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It was actually like over 5 years ago.
Dude, I know.
Which is crazy to think about.
That is crazy.
COVID was half a decade ago.
Gosh. How?
That was just like 2 years that have just been like erased.
I can't believe that COVID was that long ago already. Dude, okay, this is, I mean, I don't know why I was thinking about this today, but the Omega event that we had,
Mm-hmm.
was that this year?
Mm-hmm.
When?
I think that was in February.
Dude, that feels like forever ago.
It was like a lifetime ago.
It really does, dude. To think that was only like 5 months ago is crazy.
It is truly. I wonder about that. I'm like, how? It's just like fascinating to me how events and timelines can shift in your brain, and your perspective and your perception of them
Yeah.
can just change. Like as you change as a person, those memories are just and honestly, like the book that I was the novel about World War II and the French people that I was reading about, I think what happened, they had this, the author wrote about similar things for them, but like in a way more intense way, because in war, like 1 year of war is like, it ages you like crazy. And so it was just talking about how like each year it basically got worse and worse because the Germans are getting more aggressive and they're becoming more radical against Jews. They're also losing like more and more.
Yeah.
And so like food became more scarce, like everything kind of became more scarce. And what was so tough is like, I think I said this before, but like whereas they could have maybe left earlier or could have made more decisions sooner, it wasn't dire enough. But by the time it becomes too dire, the stakes are so high that like basically someone ends up dying or something like that, right? And so it's like those types of events that in the book the character would look back on those events that was only like a few months before that, and it was like it felt like a lifetime ago because of like the trauma of war. So I'm sure that's like 100 times that 100 times that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a strange feeling. And it, like, especially, dude, every time I go back to Sagu, it is the weirdest feeling, like walking around campus.
Yeah, what is like why do humans experience that?
I know.
Why?
I don't get it.
Like, why do we experience nostalgia? Why do we experience like whatever that is?
Yeah, yeah.
Like echoes of your former life,
yes, dude.
Like the former version of yourself there.
Which is crazy because I've never really experienced that feeling as much as like when I go to Sagu. Like when I go home and go to church or go to, something I've like grown up in, you get a little bit of that, but for Sagu, it's like, I don't know, like the times we've gone there in the past couple years and like when we play volleyball, or yeah, when we all went to Hashi that one time. What was that? 2 years ago now? Yeah. Yeah, like walking around campus knowing I'm not a student. Like, but I feel like I should be.
You feel like you should have a backpack.
Yeah, like I feel like, I should be walking to the Schaefer for dinner or something. Like, it's so strange. And then I feel like I'm going to walk back into the hall and go to my room, and everyone's going to be there.
Oh.
But, yeah. Dude, okay. Speaking of, this just made me think of this, what you said about this story or whatever. Yesterday, me and Benji watched the movie Ferrari with Adam Driver. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No.
The guy who plays the dude in Star Wars, the like, I can't remember his freaking name, dude. He's like the new Darth Vader, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was an okay movie. It wasn't
Kylo Ren?
crazy.
Kylo Ren, is that his character?
Kylo Ren, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an okay movie. It was kind of slow for the most part, but you know, it was decent. Adam Driver is a great actor. So, I mean, yeah, you know, it was good. But we were just laughing so hard because there's like 2 scenes where they show a wreck.
Mm.
And dude, it is some of the craziest scenes I've ever seen in a movie.
Really?
Like, yes, because I don't know why they did this, but like the wrecks are just so like just not realistic, you know, where the car is flying like 30 feet in the air. like the first wreck, the first big one, is this guy's driving to like you know, he's trying to get this like lap time, and it comes to this corner too hard, and like so he's slowing down, like he's on the brakes, dude, and he hits this curb, and then the scene switches, and it's literally him like I kid you not, he's like 40 feet in the air, dude. The car and him are just like flying through the air. It's like, how did the car do that? You know? It was just so funny. But anyways, the second crash is like that, which was actually, I mean, the whole thing is like based off a true story, so it's pretty sad, dude. Like, I had never like known about this story, but this guy named Dave Portago,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the main drivers for the Ferrari team back then. They were doing this big race, and Ferrari had to win. And this guy was like, he's going like 150 down the straight or something, and like these old cars, bro. It's like the ones that, gosh, I can't even. They're just old. They're like, I want to say like 60s, like race cars. And so as he's driving, going full speed, this thing on the, like in between the lanes, like slices his tire. And so the car, like, the tire blows up, and like he spins out of control. He hits this like tombstone, and then again, like the scene switches, and he's like literally, he's like 30 feet in the air, and his car hits the top of a telephone pole, dude. Like,
what?
And then the scene changes again, and like the car's like toppling over, and dude, it just freaking like pummels through like all these people like standing, like all the these fans standing on the side of the road. Yeah, and it turned out it was like a true story. Like 9 people died, and five of them are children. Like yeah, dude. And it's like, dude, it was gruesome. It showed, I mean, bro, it like pans over, and it's showing people's like, you know, body parts like all over the place. Like it was nuts. It shows him, that like Dave Portago. It's like showing all the carnage, and the last one is him, and it's like his body is severed in half.
What?
Yes, dude. I was not expecting that. Watching that movie, it was insane.
The movie Gran Turismo. You remember watching that?
Yes.
That was a pretty crazy crash scene in
Dude,
it, where the car lifts up.
That one's a true story too.
I was thinking the same. I was thinking that, right?
But they actually did really good. Like when you watch, like, you know, their like the movie side by side with the actual wreck, and they look like super similar.
Wow.
Which that one was super sad too. But yeah, that was wild watching that yesterday. I could not imagine that, dude.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that F1 movie with Brad Pitt, and that was a really good one.
It was just a good film, dude.
Solid.
Yeah. Gran Turismo was good too. There were some parts that were like, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of cheesy.
a little bit. Like a lot of young actors, though. I felt like
yeah.
so.
Even F1 though, there are like a couple parts where it's like it's kind of not super realistic.
I'm gonna-
but-
I'm gonna. You're gonna eat my dust.
yeah. Like, dude, him at the end driving with a freaking like all those screws in his back and everything, like
Yeah.
that would not happen.
No.
There's no way that dude would have driven.
I mean, those have got to already just be like the most uncomfortable seats. You know,
Dude, yeah.
you know, those have got to be so uncomfortable.
It's crazy how young like those drivers start out though. I think a lot like some of those F1 drivers are in there like 18, 19 years old. It's crazy.
And they've probably been racing like,
Oh yeah,
You know.
like all their life. Yeah.
yeah. I think you kind of got to be that young and that crazy to do that, you know?
Yeah, and have the reflexes for it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys are like celebrities.
dude, I know.
Dude, if you're an F1 driver, you're like,
Especially if you're like a top F1 driver. I mean, dude,
yeah.
the amount of money those guys make, gosh,
Man.
it's insane. I wish that I do wish that like racing, like there was more events around like racing because it's just fun. It's just like a fun thing to go to, you know.
I've never been to like a racing event.
Like I mean, I went to like when I was younger. My older brother brought me and my younger brother Jared to like a drag race event. It was just so much fun, dude. Like everyone there is just there to have a good time. Just loud cars and people just driving fast. Like it's just a good time.
Where did your family's like car obsession come from?
That's a good question, actually. Probably mostly from Austin.
Really?
Probably like, and my mom too, but mostly Austin because his like uncle, like on his dad's side, had always had like fast cars and like dirt bikes, and like Austin was always into that stuff.
Mm.
So I think he was kind of the one that like kicked it off, and then because Austin was my older brother, like I just liked everything he liked. So I think that's kind of how it like carried on.
Trickle down from there.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
A lot of that is from Austin. Probably.
Is Aaliyah your sister? Is she like into it at all?
Not. I don't think as much as us, but I mean, like
She can talk the talk.
yeah. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if she's into it as much as like me, Jared, Austin, and Levi, but like she would see a car and be like, dang, I like that car.
Gotcha. She's got taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, racing events are just such a good time. Like even the like the dirt bike events. When you when they go to Daytona in Florida, they actually have like all the fans because they'll make the dirt track inside the Daytona Speedway, and so for fans it's sick because they'll open up the speedway, and so everyone will just come and bring coolers and everything. You just like you can stand on the speedway, like the bank that goes around, and the dirt bikes race like right in front of you. Like,
whoa,
it's sick. Yeah.
Dang, dude. I think that's kind of a little dangerous.
I mean, they're not right in front of you. You're like a few. I mean, yeah, but it's rare. It's rare that there's like any incidents in dirt bike racing. I mean, usually the ones getting hurt are the ones riding.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Speaking of accidents, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine that I grew up down the street from. Saturday, and 9 days ago, he fell asleep at the wheel and got in a car accident at like 60, 70 miles an hour
Gosh, bro.
and walked away
No way, dude.
almost unscathed without a seatbelt on.
How?
I-
What?
Do not understand it, dude. In a company car.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, apparently like his medication like was making him drowsy, and like nodded off, and woke up like instantly woke up as soon as he like collided with the first car, and I think he hit like I think he hit behind the car, and like I don't know all the details. Like I don't know. In my head, they're like at a stoplight, and he's like driving, from behind and like clipped them off like the right back bumper. But I don't know. Apparently, like he basically hit that car, and then that car hit like the motorcycle in front of them. That was like I think at a stop. I'm pretty sure. And then, because he mentioned he went like on the shoulder after that and like scraped the third car. I guess he was the fourth car in the accident. But yeah, he said he like didn't have a seatbelt on, so he hit his head on the steering wheel, and the airbag like went off like into his ribs basically, which I don't understand how that happened either. But and then I think he got like a pretty bad calf bruise too, and like he's kind of limping a little bit, but. That's insane.
That is actually
I told him
insane.
I was like, dude, because he just like kind of said it, not like nonchalantly, but like just matter of fact, sort of.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, and then the more he started to describe it, the thing that really sent over the edge for me was like not even just walking away from that, but like the no seatbelt.
Yeah, that's
To me is like,
crazy,
which
bro.
is also wild because I have another friend of mine that I grew up in high school with that also got in like I think he like T-boned a guy that was pulling out of an intersection when he was kind of on like a highway, and T-boned the guy, was not wearing his seatbelt, and busted his big old head on the windshield, and like cracked it, like passed out from that, and
Gosh.
cracked the windshield. And then the driver that he hit that pulled out in front of him tried to like run away. So he like woke up. He woke up. He's like just like a good old boy, like country boy, and went and got his rifle in his truck. It was like like basically holding the guy like, do not
Holy
leave.
crap,
Dude,
dude.
you are not leaving this scene. And yeah, I mean apparently the guy was like an illegal immigrant, so kind of a
That's tough.
sucky situation all
That's
around.
tough.
But he wasn't wearing a seatbelt either, and I was like, dude, I could have gone to like both of these friends' funerals
Dude,
easily.
legit. Yeah, literally.
Easily. So
Holy crap, bro.
yeah, that was crazy, and it was actually really wild, man, because I kind of just been praying, like, sort of just like, God, I want to like, I don't know, like I want to like help someone or do something. I want like an opportunity to just like something simple to help someone. And he basically had like texted me a few days before and was like, hey, do you have a day that I could just call you for like an hour or something and just like interview or just ask you about like how you started your business, because he was interested in business. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And ended up being like I could talk Saturday, and we like did not even end up talking about that at all, which was crazy. Like it really turned into like we talked for 2.5 hours straight.
Dang.
And talked about the accident, talked about just like kind of where he's at in life right now. And, you know, he is a friend that like grew up in church, but then like never really was like always kind of questioned things. He was always wondering about things, and then kind of wanted to like do his own thing in high school and after high school too. And so it was like only earlier this year that he like had a pretty radical moment of his life where he was like, I need to like get right with God and like give my life back to Jesus. And so I had some conversations with him then too, but you know, it was just like, it was so cool because I really throughout the conversation like didn't really know what to say, in the sense of like, I feel like a lot of times, at least for me, I think, and as a lot of times men do this, where we're just like, let me find the solution to your problem. And a lot of times that can just like turn people off, right? Because like they're either, I think a lot of times people are just like subconsciously, sometimes they just need to like say what's in their head all the time. And sometimes have someone question it or confirm it or challenge it. And so there's a few times where I was just like, man, I just want to say like you're being a victim right now, you know, of your circumstances. But I knew that wasn't gonna, like, you know, that just makes someone defensive. And so instead I was just like, you know, I just shared a story from like what I feel like I've been going through, and was just praying like, Holy Spirit, please help me, because like I don't know what to say, and I don't know, you know, how to, I don't think I can really fix this. I think he has to fix this. And dude, like, I didn't really feel like I didn't, but by the end of the call, he was just like, just sounded a million times better, said he felt better, and like we just got to pray for each other right before we got off the phone. And it's so funny, dude, because like he was praying for me and said things that I didn't even really like consider about myself in terms of like an encouragement. And I think I ended up kind of doing the same thing to him. And it reminded me that I saw this video where this like street artist who like sketches faces, he was doing an experiment where he had one woman describe, so he would basically like be drawing her, and he would have her describe herself to him, like, describe to me you, right? So he would like draw her face based on how she described herself. And then he had like 2 or 3 people after her come up that did not know her, come up and describe her to the artist. And he did a second sketch based on what other people were describing about her. And when he flipped like the paintings around, the one that she described herself as was like kind of old looking, a little like droopy, sort of like just, you know, a little off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the one that other people described was like radiant, beautiful, like just sweet looking. And it was a really powerful video because obviously the message was people often see you better than you see yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see things in you that you maybe take for granted.
Yeah.
And anyway, it was just a really cool conversation, and it was a moment where I felt like, wow, I think I really was able to help my friend out by not even thinking I helped him out. Like really just by relying on the Holy Spirit and just listening and being attentive and empathizing, but not like letting him off the hook for being dumb sometimes or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was really it was really a nice moment
Mm.
and something that I feel like makes me really grateful to have you guys and have people in my life that I can have those conversations with regularly.
Yeah. I mean, that's powerful, dude. Yeah, I think sometimes that's all it takes, dude. It's just being there. And dude, I think that goes along like almost exactly with what Dallas Willard was saying in this book I'm reading, where sometimes like witnessing right to someone or like sharing the gospel or whatever doesn't always have to be you like shoving scripture down their throat or like you know like exactly what you said, like it would have been easy like you could have said like, dude, just quote us some scripture or like tell them XYZ, right? Like any of like the stereotypical responses that you'd like probably hear in a church or whatever. But like instead, like you just were there for him, and like you kind of just allowed, and like he said, like that seed in him was there, like it had been planted like years before.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it just takes time for that seed to grow, and you never know when it's gonna like just and sprout. So I think that's like literally a perfect example of what he's talking about in this book.
Well, it's interesting too because I feel like he is at. I feel like we related a lot to each other in the conversation, even though our situations are like very different. And he is more of like trying to decide, should he stay home and pursue like a lesser version of the degree that he's pursuing, or should he like go back to college and finish out like 1-2 more years of this degree, which he would make a lot more money, but he's not, it's more of like a riskier path right now, and it's a lot of work to do as well. And I don't know, just like I've just been really fascinated with the idea of someone's life and how decisions can impact a totally different trajectory in someone's life. And like when they're done living the life, you can trace back like all these things that happened in their lives to like a defining typically like a defining 2 or 3 decisions of like, they went to college, they met this girl, or they, went in the military or decided to stay home or whatever. And it just, I'm just so fascinated about how it leads them to these totally different paths in life. And I've sort of, I guess, just been philosophizing a little bit about how short your life is and how you only get one go. And I also heard this really interesting quote that was you might have heard it before, but it's like every man has 2 lives. One when he starts living, and the second when he realizes he only has 1 life, or something like that.
Yeah, I forget how it goes. Dang, how does it go? Look it up, because it is a good quote.
I got it.
Dang, that bothers me. I've seen it so many times.
Oh, apparently it's attributed to Confucius,
Hmm.
but it does not appear in his original works. Hmm. Every man has two lives. The second starts when he realizes he has just one.
Mm. I mean, so like for you, like, what do you feel like? Do you feel like you can identify those defining like decisions so far for yourself?
Ooh. Yes. And I think what brought this to my mind was like my friend having that car accident because I was just like, whoa, I could be going to his funeral,
Yeah, yeah,
but instead he's here still.
yeah.
That's crazy. Like for me, I think it was definitely going to Sagu. I can like look back and be like, that is one of the biggest defining moments of my life.
I think same for me too.
But
yeah.
I can trace that back to I think like staying in church or like being active in church growing up.
Mm.
And then like having a support system uh, that really helped me to work hard in high school, which like helped me get scholarships, which then helped, but which I only really did because I trusted my parents because I didn't really understand how it all worked.
Mm.
But that like enabled my parents to like uh, really like actually be able to help me go to college.
Mm.
And being at Sagu, that like changed, I feel like, so much for me. And then especially that's where I met Taylor, obviously. And so meeting Taylor and getting married wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone to Sagu. And I also wouldn't have met you guys,
Yeah.
right? And I think starting my fence business was a defining moment too, because it was such a like, why am I doing like it was such like a this is like the most random thing I could do, right? Like, because I never really saw myself as a construction guy. Like I'm not your typical like construction redneck guy
Yeah, yeah.
that like because I grew up around those guys.
Yeah.
And I did not really like fit like I don't have the like redneck genius that a lot of the guys that I grew up with do. But I just knew I was like, okay, I just know that if I start something and I just try my best, then it's gonna lead to something. And it really was coming from a place of like, I really don't want to work for someone else. So I would like basically either like DoorDash, and I would like combine DoorDash and freaking Shipt, like grocery delivery with the odd fence job here and there, which, taught me just enough and gave me just enough confidence to when I had the opportunity to jump on with the company I'm at now, it brought me to here, which you guys were already here. But it also like gave me access to like so many other things that I didn't realize it would. Whereas like now I'm like, once you're a business owner, it's weird, man. Like people just kind of treat you different a little bit. Like, I don't really even like consider myself, I don't know. Like I look at my business partner and I see him as like an entrepreneur. Like he's so like, it's just like he lives and breathes it, right? And so I don't feel like I'm there yet, but I think that it has given me access to people that I would not have had otherwise, and giving me an opportunity by taking a risk to do this that just it showed me leverage of like going from the point of building the fence myself and doing like start to finish, quote the job, sell the job, you get the lead, quote the job, sell the job, build the job, finish everything, and then try to go find your next one, to like learning about the different parts of a business that go into that. And it like that is a defining moment for me too, because it has, I feel like, afforded me a degree of freedom at a young age that not many people get to do. It's weird, man. Like I don't know. It's like a weird thing I feel like I'm in. But those are like the defining moments I can look back on.
Yeah. Gosh, dude. It is crazy looking back and just like seeing how one thing led to the next and the next. Like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think like the two most defining moments like that started me on this trajectory it's kind of wild, is probably one, football in high school, and then two, like the girl I dated in high school.
Really?
Yeah. Which is like super interesting now that I think about it, because I just went through such this weird time in like late middle school going into high school, where like I was homeschooled for a couple of years, and I just went through like a weird phase, like that. I don't know if like, I'm sure a lot of kids go through it, but I lost like a lot of confidence in myself. I was like I became super shy, like just didn't, I don't know. It was weird. Like I was not the kid that I was, like I was just very like out there and just, I don't know, crazy all the time, whatever. So like when football started, that was huge for me because like one, I loved the sport and I was really good at it too. And then like one of my high school football coaches in particular, like he really, like, I don't know, like me and him, like he just invested in me a lot. Like he really kind of pushed me, like which he didn't even know, like who I was, like barely, because my school didn't get a football program until my sophomore year of high school. So I was like I was part of like the very first team there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we had like new coaches, everything. So this one coach, like we just like bonded really well, and he just like pushed me and like helped me kind of gain my confidence back, But then this girl I dated too, her dad was a head pastor of a church, and one night when I was dating, or when I was like out with her and her family, her dad just like, he like gave me this weird look and was like, oh, like their church was like super big on like the gifts of the Spirit and everything. Someone would probably say like a little overboard, but I mean, some of the stuff I saw there was pretty amazing. Anyways, like one service I was there, visiting their church, and like in the middle of service, her dad just like called me up to the front and prophesied over me for like 20 minutes straight. Like him and like all the leaders came up and like prophesied over me, saying that like I was going to be in ministry, I was going to be a pastor, and like all this stuff. It's pretty like a crazy moment. Um, and that moment was like what kind of shifted me towards like a ministry thing.
Hmm.
And then it was like also football that like shifted me towards SAGU, because I got the football scholarship at SAGU. Then I went to SAGU for the pastoral leadership class, like degree. So that's how I ended up there, basically.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. And then I think me like dropping out of that degree and choosing Bible and theology, that was like a pretty defining moment. And then from there, like me deciding to stay in Texas, that was
Huge.
yeah, that was pretty defining, I would say.
Okay, what about, because I feel like a big question that people have is like, how do you discern God's voice, or how do you know when you're, to make a decision like that, right? So like, can you remember, like, what was it about the way that you were feeling spiritually? Or what signs did you see that really prompted you to make a decision like that? Because, like, if anyone knows you, they know how much you love your family. They know how much, like, of a difficult thing it is to not be with them.
Yeah. It was just like a weird thing because like COVID happened, like everyone was like, all of us, like all second floor was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Nathan were tight back then, but we weren't like as close as we are now, so it was just weird because it was like that was like the first time where everyone I was like super close with was just like gone, like that, like where I really felt like, okay, I feel like kind of a little alone. Even, like I was close with Tyler and Nathan, but like it wasn't like having Reed around or whatever,
Right.
just because, I like lived in the same room as Reed. But it just like at first I wasn't even gonna stay in Texas that long, I don't think, and because we were talking about like I was still looking into like, okay, am I gonna go get a master's degree? Like, am I gonna go to school somewhere? Am I gonna go back to SAGU and like get my master's there? All that stuff. So we were looking at like we had got like me, Nathan, Tyler. We had like gone to several apartment complexes in Round Rock, and we're thinking about staying there. And so, but it just like never worked out.
You guys had gone to apartment complexes?
We had gone to apartment complexes in Round Rock. In Waxahachie.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
Sorry. Yeah, in Waxahachie. Because we had talked about staying there. And so I remember like calling my mom and was like, hey, I think I'm going to stay here like a little while longer over the summer. And I don't even really remember like why, but I just knew that like I was supposed to. And okay, and it goes back further than that, because even like all my time at SAGU, I always felt like when I would go to SAGU, it's like my life in Florida would like be on pause. Then when I go to Florida, SAGU would be on pause and like Florida would like continue. And it was like always just like back and forth. And it wasn't until like my senior year that I really felt like, I don't know why, but I felt like Florida, like my life in Florida was just kind of like, I don't know, dissolving, I guess. Like it felt that way. And I remember talking about in the fall that year, like senior year, like just like playing with the idea of staying in Texas. And like I saw guys like getting a place to live together or whatever. And so then when spring semester came, I was like, all right, I really don't know like what's I have no plan of like what I'm gonna do. So, like whenever I feel like that, this kind of goes back to what we were talking about last week after the pod. But whenever like I'm in that mode, I genuinely believe like fasting is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
So I just took like that first or second week at SAGU, I just fasted, like only for a week, you know. And I was just like, all right, God, like I'm just gonna go through the semester and see like where it takes me, basically. And so COVID happened, and then you know, built this shed in Nathan's backyard, all that crap. And but like I just remember like as the semester went on, I just felt more and more like God wanted me to stay in Texas. Like I just like it was just a feeling. And I can't really describe it, but yeah, it was, I mean, like, you know the story. So like that summer, okay, like everything that you described to me of how you felt with Omega and everything, that is how I felt like that summer.
Really?
Like, yes. Where, like, looking back on it, I think I was like actually experiencing like some form of depression because like I had like everything that I typically enjoy doing, like playing guitar or like playing video games or like just like any of those like
music.
Yeah, music, like yes, music. Yeah. Any of like my typical hobbies, like I had zero desire for like anything. So I literally would just sit in the shed and stare at the ceiling for hours. Like I'll just lay down and look at the ceiling for hours, just like thinking, like, what am I doing here? Like, what do I want to do? Why am I here? Like, what is going, like, you know, and like praying, like, what am I freaking doing? You know? And yeah, like, and then I was working at Domino's still.
Yeah.
Like that was my life, was just Domino's, come back, sit in the shed. So it was such a weird time. And so that was when I went home for a wedding, to my friend's wedding, and like had an amazing time, like with all my friends and family. And that's when I got pissed. I came back and I was like, all right, God, like if I don't have some kind of direction like soon, I'm just gonna move back because like I'm not just gonna sit here and do nothing, you know?
Yeah.
So so I fasted another week, and then it was at the end of that week that Sam came to all of us and was like, hey, my dad needs help with this church, blah, 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 you know. And then I was like, well, like in my mind, it wasn't a coincidence. Like in my mind, I just went through this fast. It was like I knew where I was at mentally.
Yeah.
And like I just needed like God to like point me in a direction, you know. And so that happened. It was like, okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think about though, like what would have happened if I would have gone home? Like what would I be doing right now? You know? And I really have no clue. Like I feel like I could have gone back to school. I could have like worked at my church, or
True.
Who knows?
I feel like it would be like a very hometown type story for you.
Yeah.
I really do.
Probably.
Like I feel like it would have been you moved home, and then I bet you would have started getting your master's online while you worked at your church. And
probably
I bet you would have met a girl at your church and gotten married or something like that.
Yeah.
It would have been like very, very Hallmark hometown type story.
Yeah. Yeah, that is super interesting to think about. But oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like that. I feel like is what I like time and time again. Like that's like what I'm learning, in the way that like God like interacts with me, I guess, or in general is to just commit to something, like commit to a decision, and then obviously like take your time, think about it, like pray about it. But like if you're like stuck and just like absolutely don't know what to do,
Mm.
then like you have like several options and don't know which one to pick,
Yeah.
like, and that's like kind of what I said before to you as well. Like to me, not choosing any of them is the worst possible decision.
Yeah.
It's like, because you're literally just sitting there,
Yeah.
like it's like zero action, But like when you take action, what I found is oftentimes like God will close a door if it's not meant to be.
Mm.
And then which works out for you, because even if that door is closed, it's like, okay, well, I now have, like, I know the next step to take, or
Yeah.
So yeah, if I would have gone back home, dude, that's so, I'm honestly like never really thought about that. That's so weird to
What
think
does that alternate timeline look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even on fasting, like I was talking to Pastor B the other day at the church at a VBS, and I was doing security for it, and I got to talk to him, and like I just kind of told him how we had like sort of been doing we'd basically been doing a fast, but sort of like a different fast than normal, in search of like getting Taylor a job.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't know how to put this really, and I don't even know if this is like, I don't even know if I could back this up scripturally. I'm just going to tell you my experience is like, well, first of all, Pastor B said, he said, Joseph, like fasting, he said, is literally the superpower that most Christians don't ever like tap into. And
I believe it, dude.
Because he said, like, he talks about how it was when he went on this trip to that Pastor Ron Vietti, his pastoral group trip that he does. He like literally heard that one guy couldn't make it, and it was Pastor B due to financial reasons, because I think that was like during the time that they were at the other property, maybe, and that they were like trying to build on it, and it was like not going well. And so he like kept getting bothered by it and paid for Pastor B. Like, I'm just going to pay for him to come out. And it was that moment that Pastor B, like after being around all those pastors and hearing how Ron Vietti has like grown this church, how God's grown it through him, like he said that was the moment he came back and really was like, okay, we're going to make like a very concerted, focused effort to pray and fast as a church, like really concerted effort. And he told me, he was like, from that moment, he's like, it was just like everything changed.
That's crazy.
And so back to my experience, I mean, we literally basically made a decision to be like, okay, I felt like I had kind of been like trading spiritual favor in the hopes of like grasping at like, I don't know, worldly wealth, or like almost like holding on to my savings and just like praying that we would get a job before our savings ran out. And we sort of just made a decision to be like, okay, that feels like a losing battle. So like, what do we know about scripture? We know that if we choose to then reverse that, like the kingdom is the reverse, right? So like if we can turn it, what if we turn that upside down? What does that look like? Well, it looks like giving the security of that up for the favor of God, and like the faithfulness, like choosing to trust the faithfulness of God to provide for us, right? And so literally, dude, all we did was like make a decision and did it. And before that, we had just written down like what qualities in a job like do we want, or what, I guess, what about a job do we want to have? What qualities do we want a job to have? Whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like we would really love it to be like hybrid, sort of. and flexible, but she's also was kind of looking for something new and something like she could really challenge herself with. And we had like a certain salary number we wanted. And I was looking at this list and I was like, there's no way that we're gonna find a job that meets all of these. Like,
Yeah.
and as the weeks go on, you're kind of like, okay, we're gonna have to start sacrificing some of these desires, right?
Yeah.
And even like, like not a long commute and then I would hear Taylor like say that to other people and I would just be like, that sounds like the most entitled, like, almost like we're just being so like entitled into like what you think, you're not gonna have a commute,
Yeah.
and every job we were seeing, it was just like, this is awful. This is not a good job. And would just be kind of miserable and soul sucking, honestly, for her. And, but then you're like, man, it kind of, like, how long can we just keep like saying no to these things?
Right.
Or
yeah,
like not
right.
going for these jobs. And it was the craziest thing, man. Like, a recruiter reached out to her, not like a recruiter company, not like a third party company, like a recruiter from this certain company reached out to her. And we had already had like a few sort of like scammy things, like scammy DM. You get like a lot of scam emails and texts and DMs when you're looking for a job.
Yes.
And so the message had like sat for a few days, I think, or maybe longer than that. And then Taylor was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna reach out. And so she like reached out because it was weird because this job was like, you had to have sales experience, you had to have a business degree, and Taylor had none of that, like 0 sales experience, 0 business degree. And so she like got on the call with the first of all, the recruiter had set the date like 3 weeks in advance, 2 weeks in advance for the call. And so we had just been praying like, God, open a door and close a door that only you can, so we know what to do. And she'd been really, really hoping for this other job, right, that she had applied for. And I kid you not, the same day an email came in saying, hey, like it was super close between you and another candidate, but we had to make a hard decision. We went with someone else. We went with the other person. Like, thank you for applying. That same day, the recruiter was like, hey, I just had a cancellation. Could you get on the call today? And you're like, yeah. Gets on the call, and the recruiter's like, I'm sure you're probably wondering why I reached out to you. And then she was like, yes, I am. And she said, it turns out that we've had really, really good luck with former teachers. And she was like, well, that's me. And she's like, yeah, like I saw your resume, right? And like, goes through that interview, I guess it's more of like a qualification. And the lady was like, hey, this is great. I want you to talk to my regional manager of Austin. And then though sometimes these like interviews based on the schedule can be like a week to 2 to 3 weeks apart.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like 2 days later. She gets on the phone, like a video call with the regional manager. And by this, like each meeting, we like, we're like, okay, this is looking a little bit better. And so we're like prepping more and more and more, right? And we're like kind of seeing the dots connect, like, oh, well, this is actually like, it's like kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
And like, she gets on that interview and I mean, just like crushes it. And I know she crushed it because the regional manager was like, it takes a lot to impress me. And like, you impressed me on this call. Like so much so I want to have an in-person interview with you like 3 days later with my like VP. And so we were just like, this is going really well.
Yeah.
And we're like not, we prepared for it. Yeah. But there's nothing about that. There's nothing about like the 3D things in this scenario that should have worked. Right.
Yeah.
And so then fast forward, she goes to this other interview and by the time this time she's like pretty nervous because she heard back from the job she wanted second most and they said that they had filled the position. So now we have a total of 0 leads on other jobs.
Yeah.
0. So if this falls through, we're basically back at square one. And so, you know, she goes to it and they kind of like are, you know, kind of grill her a little bit. And still, I think she crushed it. I was so proud. And they're like, hey, we're going to tell you by Friday. And that was like 5 days away, right? So she comes back home and I'm talking to her. She's telling me all about the interview and she gets a phone call. And so she's like, oh my gosh, this is like a number from someone who I think could be those people.
Yeah.
And answers it. And it's like it's like the regional manager. And I'm like, my heart like sinks for a second because I'm like, oh, like I think they're going to tell her that she didn't get it, you know? Cause like they said by Friday, they said on Friday. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I hear like the manager's voice. She's like, hey, Taylor, like, do you have a second to talk? And like, it's a bit chipper. But I'm like, is this like fake corporate chipper? Or is this like, I'm excited? And the lady was like, I just want to let you know, you impressed us so much. We loved you. Like, we'd like to offer you the position. And so then this is how I know it was God, dude. Because like, not only did it like meet all of our list, it like exceeded our list. And what I mean by that is like, this wasn't just like an entry-level sales position. This was like an intermediate, like a consultant level sales position. Yeah. Which is crazy because she has no experience, right? Like we had no one, you know, that recommended her for the position. They had reached out to us, like, and then, you know, they have like, I don't know, 7 salespeople in the Austin area. And so we're like, okay, well, like what territory is she going to be over, right? Because like if she's in Utah, that's going to suck, right? Because she's going to drive all the way through Austin. And she's like, yeah, it's the Georgetown, Hutto, North Austin territory. And I'm just like, okay, God, like now you're just showing off, you know? Yeah. But I say all that to say that there's like not a sliver of glory that we could take from that. Right. Yeah. And to me, that is like just a blatant God story. But also, I don't really feel like I did anything to deserve that. Other than like making a decision to fast and like sticking to it. Yeah. You know, does that make sense? Like, I don't feel like I was in the state of mind or like, I don't feel like I was spiritual enough to sort of earn that. It really felt like a gift of like, oh, holy crap, this is a gift from God. And I just think that there's like these spiritual laws that God's built into our world that, you know, even if you don't have you know, you're not perfect about whatever, I still think that there's just something about like you're like kind of just unlocking this like spiritual energy into the spiritual realm when you do things like, you know, pray specifically about something or write something down or like fast about something. And I've been like really fascinated about that because I feel like those, like what I was talking to you about like off camera about the Never Split the Difference book, where, you know, he's like a negotiator and he's not talking from theory. He's talking from, you know, FBI cases that he was on that were life or death. And in some cases, people died because he didn't have the right tactics. And so he had to like learn from them. And then he would have like an overwhelming success with his next thing because he like added another like negotiation tactic to his arsenal. And it's stuff like that. You're like, you can't in your right mind write this guy off. Right. Yeah, you can't. Yeah. Because like the proof's in the pudding, you know? Yeah. And so I love that about these stories because it's just like, you just can't, I feel like you just can't write them off unless you're just like a Scrooge. Right. Yeah. You know? Right. Yeah. Yeah. I 100% believe like,
Dude, same for me. Like anytime that I've fasted and I feel like God came through with an answer or like a direction or whatever, I feel like 90% of them I'm like, gosh, like I did not deserve that, you know, or like I don't, like sometimes I don't even like I'll fast and then I'm not, you know, like I didn't even like do it perfectly, like I've messed up or whatever, and but like I I like firmly believe that God, like one, he will always honor like the fast, even if it's not right away. Like sometimes like you won't see the results of it like for a while maybe, you know, and it will still like doing a fast and then you expecting to have like your answer the next day, you know, like you can't expect that, right?
Right.
But I do believe like he will always honor it like somehow. And furthermore, like I believe he will always honor like a genuine heart, you know, like when you're like when you are genuinely like trying to seek his will like for your life, which is like what he wants for your life, you know. So yeah, dude, I think you're right, dude. I do think fasting is like pretty slept on in the Christian world, especially now that like fasting is more trendy, you know, with like
intermittent fasting.
yeah, intermittent fasting and like, you know, trying to lose weight or cure some disease or whatever. It's like it's it's just not the same. Yeah. And like kind of like you were saying last week, I do think too that um it I think it means more when it is like truly a sacrifice for you, you know?
Yeah, there's something like almost, I really hesitate to say this, but like it feels transactional to me in
Yeah.
terms of like, not that you're, I want to stay away from like the idea that you're earning it,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like the harder, the more sacrificial it is for you, the more response I tend to get.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
You know, who knows?
It's a little sticky
Yeah,
theology
I mean,
there.
Yeah. I do think there's some sense to that though. Only because like I know a lot of churches will do things, you know, like every January we do like a Daniel fast or something, which is cool. Like I think it's really good to like obviously encourage believers to fast and like it's cool to fast together as a church. But I know like I grew up doing that every year, you know, and it wasn't until like late high school where I really felt like, okay, like, am I just doing this because my church is doing it, or am I like, what is this all about for me personally, you know? And like, I mean, I think it was last year or something, maybe the year before, I don't know, but there's a couple of times I fasted where I was like, in my head, I was like, yeah, I'll fast like this for a week, you know? Like, okay, like for me, like, dude, I hate the Daniel fast, bro. I hate it. Like, I cannot stand it, bro. But
Same.
yeah, but I was like, you know what? Like, if I did this, like, it would be a sacrifice, you know. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for, you know, a couple weeks. I can do that. And I think that's what it's about. Like knowing what like, I don't know, like what gets you. And like, can you lay this down? You know, like that's the question you have to ask yourself.
It's so tough. I think I've heard Pastor B say something like, fasting reveals who's the slave and who's the master.
Yes. Yeah. Which is such a great way to put it.
So true, dude. Oh, painful too.
Yeah.
Good stuff,
Good stuff. So starting tomorrow? I'll just never stop fasting.
I'll be on an eternal fast. Oh, okay. I don't know why this just popped in my head, but I was listening to one of the sermons from that guy Ron Vietti, and I feel like this kind of like chilled me to the bone a little bit. And I don't really know why, but he was like, you know, a lot of people think that like when you get to heaven, you're just gonna like, you know, magically become competent. And he was like of the belief that, you know, it's okay, he didn't say this, but like, you know, I feel like one of the most baseline biblical theologies of heaven is that you're going to get like a renewed body.
Yeah. Mm.
I feel like most Christians will agree on that, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be like no disease, no sickness, no sin, right? But he said something that I've never really heard someone like articulate before, which was, and the only person who's come close is Dallas Willard, but he said that some people think that most people think that when you get to heaven, you're going to magically become competent. And he said, I don't believe that. He said, I think that if you're lazy on earth, you'll be lazy in heaven.
Dude.
And if you're selfish on earth, you'll be selfish in heaven. Or if you're, you know, he just kind of, you know, complacent, right? If you're complacent on earth, you'll be complacent in heaven. And that freaked me out because I really believe that. And I believe that because of what Dallas Willard says about the kingdom, that the whole point of living in the kingdom of God is to become competent rulers in heaven, like to rule with Jesus for eternity. And your crown or your rewards in heaven are based on your works. You know, it's based on your, you know, whatever works on earth or your degree of sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
On
yeah.
earth, like if you get martyred for the faith, like you're gonna be up there, right? And I think what really, I feel like resonated with me about that specific statement is I feel like, at least for myself, maybe you haven't ever like thought this, but for me, I kind of like almost expected in some ways. I was like, okay, like when I get married or like when I go to college or like when I become a father or like, you know, when I have my own business or whatever, like insert big life event. I was always just kind of like, this will like not necessarily fix me so like per se, but this will like almost like force me to be a better person. And what I've found is like that hasn't really, like it'll happen for a little bit of like the change of environment or the, you know, the change of life will sort of like boost me for, you know, a few months, a year, whatever. And then if I haven't really dealt with that habit, or if I haven't really dealt with that, you know, tendency or state of mind or attitude about something, like it kind of slowly creeps back in.
Yeah.
And I realized that I had kind of the same thought about heaven of like, well, when I get to heaven, this will like fix me, right? But then the more I kind of like read about or study about what it's going to be like in heaven, I get more of like a realist. I feel like I've gotten a more like realistic perspective in that it's, yes, there's not going to be any sin, right? So like maybe no lust, maybe no hatred, like debauchery, but like, does that mean I'm not going to be lazy? Does that mean like I'm not going to feel complacent? I don't know. But like it would really suck to like think I'm gonna be, this like perfect being, right? And like
Yeah.
get to heaven and God be like, I just think there's a reason why he says, well done, good and faithful servant. Like I think the whole point is for us to become more Christ-like, and it's to become as close to Jesus as we possibly can, and thus become competent rulers for God and his kingdom. Like that's the whole point of why he had us in the first place before the fall, right? And so that is just something I never heard a pastor say.
Yeah. My dad actually talked to me about it. Like we had a conversation about like this couple times when I was in Florida, and he asked like a similar question, like what Dallas Willard said, which is like very, very, very close to what you're saying. And the question was like, what if you, like when you died, the person that you are now when you died was like the same person you'll be forever? Like, would you be happy? Like, would you be okay with who you are? Like, forever, Which that really, like, it does put it into perspective, dude. Like, I don't know.
It's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah, it really forces you to. And like his whole point was, like Dallas Willard, he talks about how if you like say you are a believer, you've been like raised in church, you've been like, just like a lifetime follower of God, but you're in your 80s and 90s and you're like a grumpy old man, that like gets annoyed with children and like very bitter and whatever. He's like, have you like Dallas Willard would question and say like, have you really become more like Christ? Like as you've aged, like, because ideally, as you age, like, ideally you should be becoming more and more like Christ, if that's the goal, right? So like,
Yeah.
if you're like this old, bitter, like, I don't know, grumpy person, impatient or whatever, then like, what does that say about your relationship with Christ, Especially if you've been like a lifetime follower. And I just like, I had never like really thought about that. Because it really makes sense. Like if I am a believer in Christ and I like have a relationship with him, then as I mature, I should become more like him. Like, especially into my later years, like the goal is to only become more and more like him, like patient, loving, kind, right? Like all the fruits of the Spirit. And if you're like going in the opposite direction, then that's I feel like that could be a dangerous sign, And then to ask that question, if you died and you were that person for the rest, like for all of eternity afterwards, it's like, man, what a way to look at it. For me personally, though, I don't know what I believe. I don't know, because I get lost in the weeds, like theologically, of like, what does that mean for heaven? Like, can you sin in heaven? Can you? Which
is laziness a sin? Is complacency a sin?
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know.
Which that leads to whole other things. Like, if you can't, like, we had a big debate one of the years at SAGU. I don't remember. Like, we were talking about like, if it is impossible to sin in heaven, then does that mean you don't have free will anymore? So it leads to it opens up a can of worms, like there's so many questions that comes with that. But I feel like I do like the more kind of like you, the more I read scripture, the more I've like gone down this track of like what Jesus taught and what it means to be in the kingdom of heaven. Like it, the more realistic approach, like, is, I don't know. I lean towards it. But who knows, dude? Who knows? I feel like that's why you just have to you have to make the most of like what you have, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
It is a very intriguing thought, though, dude. It's an intriguing thought. And a scary one, too.
Interesting.
I do think about Dallas Willard, though, and like, dude, him in his old age, like, he just seems like the most, like, he just seems so kind and so approachable and loving. It's like, dude, that's someone who like follows Jesus.
Yes.
You know? And like you can tell
That
like,
he was like,
based on his fruits, you know.
dude, his aura was unmatched.
Yeah.
People who were around him were like, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand like how people would, I remember people would say that they would feel like their heart rate and their blood pressure like come down.
That's
like
crazy.
like they would feel like their resting heart rate and their like blood pressure like like just whenever they were like sitting with him, because he like had such a calming demeanor.
Yeah.
And like non-judgmental demeanor.
Gosh.
Like
dude.
what? And
Gosh.
so much more of like, they talk about his tactfulness and like every word he would say was not wasted. And man, it really makes me reflect on my own life, dude.
I know.
It really does.
Gosh. That I have to say that has been hitting me like this year with this whole business thing and everything. It's like kind of what you were saying too last week after the podcast. Like, what is all this about, you know? And to me, it was just like this whole year has just been like I've been in survival mode, you know? But it's put me in a place where I really have to like rely on God and like trust that He's gonna get me through any situation. And I feel like I kind of came to a similar place where it's like, okay, I don't want to make my whole life about like building a business and like becoming super wealthy and all this stuff. Like, I don't want that to be what my life is about. Like, I want, like, when I really think about it, as a follower of Christ, like I want to like help the Lord expand His kingdom. Like, that's like what this life is about, you know? And trying to really come to terms with that. Like, and just kind of like what Paul says, and just being like practicing and being content. Like, okay, I am not making nearly as much money as I was a year ago, but like, can I be content? And can I still become more like Christ? Like, can I still take on the nature of Christ? Because like at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Well, thank you for watching the second floor experience. Appreciate you being along for the ride. And try out fasting. See what happens. And write us and let us know.
Yeah.
But until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Second Floor Experience podcast. Peace.
I want to talk to you.
Not now, later.
No, now.